Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Codey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day guys and welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian Fishing Podcast. We are up to episode 160. Codey?
We certainly are, Diz, and we are joined by an excellent guest, Codey from Spot on Port Lincoln. We're looking forward to that, hearing all things going on over there, mate.
Yeah, no, it'll be great to have a chat with him. It was nice to meet him over at the Lincoln Classic. We've certainly had a few Lincoln-related things the last few episodes, but it's all been good fun, that's for sure. And he's going to tell us about all the happenings down in that part of the world and tell us a bit about the shop down there at Port Lincoln. But before we get into having a chat with Codey and all of the segments that all of you listeners have come to love over the years, let's start with oranges and lemons. Codey, what has been your orange over the fortnight?
Dizzy, we might have even be just over a fortnight, but I think 2 weekends ago was Easter. Great to have 4 days off, and I think we both got over to different parts of the York Peninsula and got away. We went camping sort of just near Daly Head, and you got over to Black Point, I think. Is that right, mate?
Yes, yeah, it was a lovely weekend. Weather left a little bit to be desired, I think, but we managed to sneak out a few times on the boat. Ned just loved it, mate. Absolutely loved it. We're out there for about close to 3 hours, which I couldn't believe I could keep him entertained for that long.
Yeah, how many snacks did you give him?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
That'd be my one, I reckon, pointer to anyone that's, what are our kids? Our kids are 4. If you had a 2-year-old and you were just trying to get him in, my advice would be snacks.
Yeah, go hard on the snacks. Don't undercater on the snacks. That's for sure. Good call. Right, my orange has been gather round. It was good fun.
It was good, Diz, and it always is a good weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go to a lot of games, so I was obviously watching quite a few of them, but managed to get to the Bulldogs-Hawks game on Saturday evening, and it was just good atmosphere. But the place has got Adelaide's just got a bit of a buzz about it when gather round's here.
Yeah, I was a bit down on games this year too, Diz. I think I only got to 3 this year. So
as opposed to 7 last year?
Yeah, I think I gave 7 a crack one year.
All right, what was your lemon then?
Dizzy, we had a great time camping. I'll preface this. Is that the word? Preface this?
No, just preface.
Preface?
Yeah.
I'll preface it with we had a great weekend. But we set up in the howling wind. And I'll give you the red hot tip. A 9-person tent creates quite a big wind block and is quite hard to set up in the wind. So that was a bit of a hassle. And then it's typical that you pack up in the rain.
Yeah.
It starts raining as soon as you start packing up a tent. So that means you've then got to set up the tent again the next day at home to dry it out.
Yeah. You always have to, whenever you camp, you always have to bank on one additional decent session on setting everything back up to dry it out or clean it out.
Yeah, and I think I'm just getting to the end of putting everything away now. So
well
it's
done.
been a couple of weeks.
It's reasonably good effort. Yeah, no worries. Well, my lemon was really that we just fell like 2 whiting short of getting the bag.
Oh, have you not heard of that 10% rule? When you get within 10% of the bag, you just keep going regardless of time commitments?
And it was the one session that we had when Ned was out there. So there was 3 of us on the boat. We're entitled to our 15. The bite was hot, and I turned around and looked at Ned, and I didn't know whether he was getting seasick or whether he was about to fall asleep. And I was like, I don't want to ruin his time. We'd been out there for a long time. The weather was a bit iffy. So it was just disappointing just to fall a few short. I would have liked to have been able to brag about getting the bag, but I couldn't.
So you've never got the bag with Ned, so that'll be a momentous day, won't it?
Yeah, we will when we get there. Anyway, all right, Roddy, what do you got up for us on the social media front?
Dizzy, did you see that post? It wasn't our post. I can't take any credit for it. I think it was Port Hughes Fishing Charters. I've actually just got it up now, and it was that post about how many snapper they've been finding.
Yeah.
And it got quite a bit of traction. I've got it now in front of me. They've tagged Purser in it. It's had 501 comments. It's had 2,000 likes, and it's been shared 152 people. They've tagged Peter Malinowskis in it. They've tried to tag Purser in it. They're basically saying we did 100 kilometres on the water out of Port Hughes, and every drop was just snapper, 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 Diz. So that was the one that caught my attention this week.
We've certainly heard that a lot from people. We went down to Port Hughes ourselves fishing, don't know when that was, like late last year probably. And we did catch quite a few snapper on some of those whiting drops. In fact, we ended up moving, Rody.
We did. And we've had it a little bit on this side of the Yorks.
Yeah,
but not to that same extent. No,
we've had sessions where we've caught just nothing but baby snapper.
Yeah.
And we've moved on pretty quickly because as much as we're fishing in relatively shallow water, and I'm sure that there's a reasonable survival rate once you put them back down, there's just, what's the point? Like, if there's a plague of them down there and you're not getting anything else, you really should be moving on. Of course, we weren't targeting them, but, when you go there and you're trying to get a feed of whiting or whatever, and there's just huge scores of snapper, it's frustrating.
And when they are like that, particularly the little ones, you can go bang, bang, 2 lost baits, bang, bang, 2 lost baits. All of a sudden, a bag of cockles has disappeared pretty quick.
Yeah, they do hurt you on the bait front too, that's for sure. All right, Roddy, what else is happening? Squid eggs?
Yeah, my little video from Port Lincoln in the shallow water of the squid eggs, that got some pretty good traction, I thought. Good signs for some breeding in the Gulf. That one was Spencer Gulf, obviously, but... good signs for the squid, hopefully bouncing back, and your whiting got a few likes.
Yeah. I'm not the greatest on content. I'll admit that, but we had a few. Ned and Matilda were holding some whiting. I don't know whether I sent that one through.
No, you haven't sent me that one yet. That must still be in the outbox, mate.
It could be stuck in the outbox.
And what about my rubbish bag? that really took off.
Yeah, did it?
I mean, a little bit. Took off a little bit.
I think there's probably a lot of people out there that have just a bin on their boat and they're like...
Or a bucket's probably pretty common.
A bucket, but they're probably all like, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with the bin that's on my boat.
Yeah, but
I think there's some people out there that give that some merit.
Do you think that, a bin, the bottom of a bin or a bucket on a boat gets pretty gross?
It does.
You get a bit of, cockle juice, you get a bit of beer, you get a bit of spray off the ocean. It just pools in the bottom and gets pretty stinky.
Yeah.
My mesh scaling bag lets a bit of airflow. You can hose it off with the deck wash. No smells.
Yeah, always like you eventually be one of those guys that you see on midday TV trying to sell some sort of thing you've made in your backyard because you're trying to solve a problem that nobody has in their life.
You should see what goes on in my brain, mate. There's some weird stuff going on.
No, it was I liked it. I did like it. You're right. We don't really have a we've got one of those buckets that is like a throw everything in a bucket.
Yeah.
And it does. You're right. It does get gross. And I thought that the scaling bag worked well. Anyway, we've spent a fair bit of time on that, so we might just move on, Rody, and get stuck into the news.
Rody and Diz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and we'll give you the rundown on what you need to know.
Plenty of tagged fish in the Let's Go Fishing comp around Port Lincoln. We're going to have a chat with Codey about that a bit later on, Rody. But it's that Let's Go Fishing comp's getting a bit of traction around the place, isn't it?
Certainly is, Diz. There's plenty of salmon trout as a part of round 4 around the jetty and the wharf at Port Lincoln. And I also saw Gav Matthews, who we went fishing with that one day over on KI, has tagged quite a few silver trevally around the Kingscote jetty, Diz. So a couple of the rural regions are really getting involved in this one, Diz. Great to see plenty more tagged fish. There were already some to start with at Port Norlunga, I know, some salmon trout and plenty of other fish around the place, Diz. So great to see another round of that competition up and running.
Yeah, good call. Absolutely, Rody. This next story, very sad. Fisherman drowning at Goa.
Yes, Diz. This was a couple of weeks ago. I think it was a 48-year-old fella, I think, was pulled in. He was said to be an experienced fisherman. He was taken to hospital after being swept off a sandbar at the treacherous Murray Mouth. And yeah, that one didn't end well, did it, Diz?
No, it didn't. It is. I mean, as you said, like experienced or not experienced, it's a dangerous place out there on the water, and you need to take every precaution you can. And obviously, our thoughts are with their loved ones and family, but. Sometimes it's important to cover these stories so that people do have awareness, because you might have people that aren't experienced that go down there. We've been down in the Mundu Channel before with those kayak.
Oh, yeah, we did too.
Kayakers that they had obviously not read the weather forecast, because there was no way that they were going to be able to kayak against that wind all the way back to the ramp. So, and it
was interesting, Diz. He was from Port Elliot, I think. He was a local guy. He was 48, so he's you're really in the prime for being okay fishing and things like that. So and it said he was an experienced fisherman. So it is just a reminder: no matter how much fishing you've done, you've still got to be really careful.
Yep, good call. All right, Rody, what about the Coorong Brim Classic? We've got a few results.
We certainly have, Diz, and the winner was Team Hardcore 1. Rick Kazulan, who we had on the show a year or two ago.
Dude, they're always so great at tagging us in their adventures. They always share photos with us. They always give us a bit of a wrap-up of what they're doing. They're bloody great listeners.
And that was 7.35 kilos of brim across 5 fish, and they also took out the big brim prize of 1.93 kilos. There were 13 teams entered, Diz, and I think it was Levi and Ryan who got that comp up. That's the first year it's ran. So big congratulations to those guys. That looked like a ripper weekend, and lots of boats got their bag of 5 fish, Diz. So fishing was good.
Yeah, nice. Very, very good stuff. All right, while we're down that part of the world, I guess, let's talk a bit about the Gua cockles. So bait only.
Yeah, so that's been a bit on again, off again, I think, hasn't it? It opened up for eating, and now it's closed for eating. So that's in response to the testing they do, and they've detected brevetoxins. It does say on the update that the pippies can retain the toxins in the environment even after the bloom has passed. So it doesn't mean there's like an active bloom there at the moment, but it does mean that the brevetoxins are being detected in the cockles. And I think that's something that now they just routinely test pretty regularly to see what's going on and make sure they're safe to eat.
Do we have any science on keeping scallops or razorfish?
No.
Based on some of those areas that have had the bloom rip through it? Because, I know that a cockle and scallop and razorfish are different, but they are like filter feeders.
I know a lot of razorfish have died. There's been some photos and videos of lots of dead razorfish. There were quite a few at Black Point last time I was there.
Yeah, they were actually looking a bit healthier, but they still weren't looking like there still were some dead ones amongst them.
Yeah, so I don't know. You would think that those filter feeders would be the ones that are most affected. I suppose
there's obviously been the communications out there that's like, if anything looks crook, but you sort of wonder whether maybe they're clearly less targeted. There's not people out there in nearly the same amount of numbers targeting the Gulwa cockles as there are, diving for scallops or plucking razorfish.
And I suppose oysters are the other ones that are filter feeders that have opened up again. So maybe that.
Well, they did get closed.
They did close for quite a while,
and it sort of hasn't got to Coffin Bay. Of course, that'd be a huge worry if it did. But yeah, you'd think also, very popular seafood, highly consumed around the state and indeed around the country. So a lot more testing done, I'd say, of those ones. Very good, Diz. That's something to keep an eye on as well. Is that a smart question that I've asked?
Yeah, it is. No, it is. I tend to agree, but I do think your point that there's not as many people targeting them maybe has a bit to play with it as well. All right, Dizzy, that's it. That's it for the news segment. So let's get into our tackle item of the week.
Now it's time for Rody and Diz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
All right, Dizzy, I couldn't decide on one, but we went camping and we had some good items that I'd like to touch on. First thing, this is a question for you. Tents. Have they got really cheap or is it just me?
Well, it's interesting you say that because we were looking at some tents not that long ago, and I feel like they've definitely come down in price.
We paid it was one of those, I can't remember if it was Anaconda or BCF. One of them had, they have a members deal on, but if you're going to either of those shops for all your camping stuff, you're stupid to pay full price because they're very competitive, the two of them. I think we paid like $220 for a 9-person tent.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good.
Is that a bit of a flex, having a 9-person tent for 4 people?
Yeah, have you ever been in a 4-person tent? A 4-person tent is only marginally bigger than a swag.
I know, and I really threw you a Dorothy Dixer there so that you could answer it that way, because tell me how they come up with the 9 people. Do they just pick
9 absolute midgets?
Do they say sort of, look, I think we could fit 9 4-year-olds in this thing?
Oh, it was great for 4 of us.
Person.
You would have easily slept 6, but I wouldn't want 9.
Yeah.
So we got the Oz Trail. It's called the Genesis 9.
Okay, yeah, nice.
And it was pretty good. It was bloody windy though, so that thing got put to the test.
Is it hard to set up in routine weather?
No, it would have been. No, we set up in the backyard as a test run, and it was easy.
Yeah, okay. See, that's an important part of tents for me.
But the reminder is we have predominantly used a swag up until having kids.
Yeah,
you can set up a swag in a dead set cyclone.
Yeah,
it's heavy tarp. It's
yeah.
You can set them up. They don't blow around. They're pretty hardy.
Yeah.
A tent, particularly those big tents, you do have to be mindful of the conditions.
Yeah. You should have just put a board in and just turned it into a kite surfing mission.
Well, I did. I had to park the car centimetres from the tent as a windbreak, and also to tie the ropes onto the side of the car, because otherwise I'm not sure Lucy would have got in the thing.
She's a bit exposed out there on the hill, isn't it?
It is. It's up at Daly Head, and you do get a fair bit of wind up there. But the other thing is that is a good buy is the Jet Boil and AeroPress combo to make your coffee.
Is this a dual tackle item of the week?
I can keep going. I can go for 3 or 4 if you like.
Yeah,
But those jet boils are bloody quick at getting your hot water. And with kids, when you need to heat them up, we made a little hot chocolate. We heated up Riley's bottle.
Yeah, you just want it happening.
Yeah, you want water quick.
Yeah, you'd be silly to name something Jet Boil and it really take a long time. So they've done their name justice there, haven't they?
So, yeah, Diz, they were a couple of particular items that we took and we thought were really good. The other thing I took and I was no chance of using was the drone, Diz. If I had to put that drone up, you would have been on my case for it drowning because it would have blown straight into the ocean.
We'd have had to activate the flyaway insurance policy, which I think is exhausted.
I think it would have exhausted too.
Anyway, good little tackle items of the week there, Rhodey. So very well done. Let's get our guest on the line, who we mentioned at the top, Codey. Let's pick up the phone and get him on the line.
Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
All right, Dizzy, we are joined from Codey from Spot On Port Lincoln. Welcome to the show, Codey.
No, thanks for having me, boys. Happy to be here.
Mate, it's good to have a chat with you, and we are very much looking forward to talking about some of the fishing you've been doing recently. You're in a spectacular part of the world, plenty of options down there at Port Lincoln. But before we get into some of that stuff, let's rip through those 5 questions. So, Codey, tell us about your best fish, mate.
Oh, yeah, 76 centimetre flathead on surface. Or the 135 kilo barrel we got a couple of years ago.
Ooh, that's a bit arrogant having the choice between those two, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a challenge. Well, like you said, we're incredibly fortunate to live in the part of the world that we do, and our fishing options are endless. I mean, yeah, kings in coffins in spring are pretty hard to beat as well. But yeah, I have to go with the flathead, I think.
Very good. It's a good problem to have over there.
Absolutely.
All right, what's your favourite thing about fishing, mate?
Just the places that you get to explore. Like some of the places I've been over SA, over the Eyre Peninsula, or over the world, I never would have gone there if I never took up fishing as a kid.
Yeah, epic. It's definitely that sense of adventure, isn't it? And you do.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, I mean, some of the best trips I've ever had, I've caught no fish, but it's the adventure going to and from these places that's the exciting part.
Yeah, for sure. And mate, what's one of your first fishing memories, or how did you get into it?
When I was a kid, I used to live in Adelaide. We used to live on West Lakes, so I used to spend my after schools live baiting and throwing plastics for mulloway, and that's where I sort of picked up plastics fishing, throwing plastics for brim and salmon trout and schoolies and stuff like that, and sort of just evolved from there from a young kid to where I am now.
Very good. Now, Codey, tell us your favourite sort of fishing and why.
That's a toughie. Have to still be plastics fishing. I think you can catch any fish on plastics. The variety of bottom that you can fish, you can mid-water fish them, top-water fish them on the bottom. They're just very versatile and they just catch fish.
Yeah, excellent. It's definitely, you've got plenty of options there, and there's just something about getting fish on lures over bait, really, isn't there? So it's definitely got that element too.
Yeah, I don't find myself picking up the bait all that often anymore. Maybe a couple of whiting sessions here and there, but apart from that, it's pretty exclusively on the artificials now.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, Codey, we want to hear a bit about you, mate. Tell us how you've gone from fishing in West Lakes as a kid to now running Spot On Port Lincoln. Tell us a bit about your journey, mate.
Yeah, so grew up in Adelaide as a kid, and then nearly 10 years ago, we decided to make the move over here for 12 months. And then about 3 months in, we decided that we loved it over here that much that we'd never move back to the city. Probably the best decision we've ever made. And then through my time here, COVID happened, and knowing the previous owner of the shop really, really well, he was looking for someone else who was sort of, super passionate about fishing. And I started doing 2 days a week at the shop, then 3, then full time. Then Steve decided it was time to retire, and the business went on the market, and we were in a position to make an offer. And we were really fortunate enough to be able to buy it. And now we're going on 2 and a bit years since we purchased the shop, and it's one of the best things we've ever done.
Awesome, mate. And having looked back, tell us a bit about, obviously you've, got the passion for running your own business and that sort of thing. And, it's not always an easy journey. So tell us about some of the things you've done since taking on the business that sort of, you've kind of taking it to the next level, or trying new things, or what is it? What's been happening, mate?
Yeah, you're absolutely right that running a business that relies on people's passion isn't easy all of the time. When the weather's good and good tides and it's a weekend, it's great. But if you get a Tuesday in July when it's 8 degrees and 25 knot southwesterlies, it's not the busiest place in the world. But Gene and myself, we are relatively young, I guess, for the industry. Gene's almost in her 30s and I'm in my mid-30s now. Just I think having a more, youthful look at how the fishing industry is operated. We've both grown up, heavily on social media. And now our social media interactions have gone from, when we purchased the shop to next to zero to, we have thousands and thousands of interactions a week. We run a monthly, sometimes fortnightly, $5,000 raffle through social media now, which sells out in anywhere from 5 minutes to 2 days. We're currently in the process of creating our own website, specifically just for our one store, and just sort of stuff like that what we've been working on in the last 12 months.
Very good. Well, that's really cool there, Codey. Now, a couple more things about the shop. Firstly, it's got an epic location. Does it make you a bit jealous when you're sitting in the shop, doing some bookwork or whatever, and you look out the front door and see how good the weather's looking in the bay?
Yeah, so we deliberately have the counter facing away from the water, because it's 5 knots and 25 degrees outside, and you're watching all the boats leave Axel Stenros boat ramp and shooting offshore. It's pretty tough viewing. That does have advantages though. The boys and myself, we spend a lot of our lunch breaks in the nice weather out on the jetty, whether we're squidding or when the kings are there in summer, throwing, top water at them on your lunch break. We get lots of whales come into the bay, and that's really, in the middle of winter, you might just be putting the sign out the front or putting the flags out, and all of a sudden you'll see a couple of whales breaching 50 metres off the end of the jetty.
Well, you'd certainly have you'd have the latest fishing reports from the jetty with your location right there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we quite regularly get kids run in the shop with they pull off a fish still alive and they go, "Hey, is this legal? Can you measure it for me?"
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, normally they're dripping with blood and all over the carpet.
And they're not going to swim regardless.
Oh no, they'll just frisbee them back across the road. But no, we are very fortunate where the shop is. Being 25 metres off the water. Has tremendous advantages in not only in terms of just where the shop is, but in terms of tourism and stuff like that.
Very good. Now, we always like when we talk to these sort of people in the tackle industry or tackle shops or whatever, we like to know what do you think's going to be the new trends or new things that are sort of up and coming? Any new gear or new techniques that you think have got some potential?
Yeah, the BFS fishing in SA is going to take off.
Well, we are all the gear but no idea, and the no idea part of the BFS part's coming through here. You're going to have to enlighten us, mate.
So the ultralight bait cast fishing.
Okay.
So it's pretty big in like the East Coast at the moment for like ultralight brim fishing and like freshwater redfin fishing. And there's a couple of guys here now that have started using ultralight bait cast gear for throwing swim baits and glide baits for flathead.
I reckon that's dizzy what Josh from Shimano said as well.
Okay.
A little while ago. I reckon he was into that sort of stuff too. So
so Shimano have got some really cool BFS reels out in the range. I think the Calcutta Conquest is the sort of top of the range one there. And we've had a couple in the shop in the last couple of weeks, and they're a seriously good bit of kit.
Yeah, perfect. Well, we look forward to hearing more about that. So now, Codey, tell us, you fished the tuna comp over in Port Lincoln recently that we headed over for. It was pretty slow going. Tell us about your experience over the weekend.
Yeah, we won't talk about how many fish we caught. That was irrelevant. It's all about having a good time and not counting the amount of fish that you catch in a comp where you're supposed to count the amount of fish that you catch.
Don't worry, we were calling it the Salmon Slam at one stage.
Yeah. Look, we did catch plenty of salmon as well. It's actually funny. We had a conversation after it that some of those salmon that we caught on 10 kilo mono might have been pushing line record fish. We should have kept one of them.
Oh yeah, wow, that's true.
But no, we had a great time. I think we did beat you blokes in the shotgun start. I know we did. Yeah, I've got a video if anybody wants to see it. But no, that was about the highlight of our weekend. Wasn't the fishing, but no, it's a great event. The Classic, we're so excited to be involved in it for the next couple of years. And we've started slowly this year, so next year we would have to improve, I would think. But it's such a well-run event, and it's a massive thing here in Port Lincoln, as I'm sure you've seen people come from all over the country to be a part of it.
Very good. Yes, we love the Port Lincoln Tuna Classic, and we're already looking forward to next year. So something else we'd love to get into a little bit more. We did dabble when we were over in Port Lincoln for a little while. Is the flathead fishing? The season's well and truly upon us now. Tell us about that around sort of Port Lincoln, Coffin Bay. Plenty of big flathead to be had. Yeah,
so we are very lucky here to, in my opinion, have the best two flathead fisheries sort of in South Australia. Some monster fish every year come from the, Lincoln National Park and Coffins National Park. We've also got like Tumby Bay as well, produces some really, really good fish. The fishing is really hot at the moment. The fish are quite spread out through, Lincoln National Park and Coffins for sure. And it's just such an achievable form of fishing, whether you're boat-based or land-based. You can, come into the shop, buy a packet of plastics and some jig heads, and all of a sudden you're in the game to catch an 80-centimetre flathead. So it's, there's a million different techniques to it. There's no wrong way, just a whole heap of right ways, I think, to go about having a crack at them. I think finding the bait and finding the structure are the two most important things.
Very good. Now, Codey, tell us something else that's pretty accessible to everyone over there in Port Lincoln is some of these tagged salmon for the Let's Go Fishing Comp. Been plenty out targeting them, has there?
Unreal. Oh, I've never seen the jetty so busy throughout. Normally we see a couple of guys out there squidding in the morning, and then the same guys normally squidding there at 4:00 in the afternoon. But there are people lined up on the jetty and on the wharf day and night at the moment.
Well, that's great that it's achieved its goal of promoting fishing then, hasn't it?
Oh, 100%. And the big thing when the whiting bag limits were cut here was that, guys would go down the jetty to get their 5 whiting rather than put their boat in. And now we're seeing a lot more people come into the shop and go, hey, I'm really keen to have a crack at these salmon. I want to put my boat in to go chase them where other people can't chase them. So it's worked in getting people back on the water, not only just fishing, but having their boats back in the water as well.
Yeah, that's epic. And that's a real flex too, isn't it? Just being able to go down to the local jetty to get your 5 whiting. There's not too many parts in the world that you can just go down and sort of know that you're going to get a feed of whiting.
It's such a business problem because we rely on, we're not rely, but, part of our business is that, guys are going out chasing whiting and normally they're, unfortunately for them, losing gear. So they need to replace it. But when you're fishing off the jetty, you don't lose much gear. So, it's been a different transition over the last 6 months.
Yeah. Now, Codey, tell us about the offshore fishing, mate. The Sambos are firing this time of year, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they move in really, really close on the Port Lincoln side this time of year. Coffin Bay is sort of our summer offshore fishery, I would call it. And then a lot of our offshore winter fishing is sort of from Port Lincoln base. So you're sort of looking from Memory Cove, sort of down from there all the way out to, the Cabbage Patch and sort of South Neptune's area. The Sambos move in remarkably close, though. There are a couple of lucky anglers every year that do pull one off the rocks land-based. They're such an unreal fish land-based. But yeah, you don't need a big boat to get after them here. If you've got a 5-meter boat and you're heading out on a westerly, you'll have no dramas sort of finding the fish and either dropping live baits or jigs on them.
Very good, and it won't be long before hopefully the big barrel tuna turn up again. Is that on the agenda soon? Is it?
Yeah, they're down the southeast at the moment. So,
yeah, I did see that.
Hopefully, last time that they were sort of pretty thick down the southeast, the current sort of lined up, and they did come past town here, and we all got very lucky to get in and have a crack at a couple of them. And
so you're optimistic they'll turn up again, or?
Yeah. Things are looking very similar. The year that they turned up here, we had an upwelling. We've had another upwelling this year. Water temperatures look very similar. The bait offshore at the moment is unbelievable. There's certainly no shortage of pillies and souries and everything else that they're eating. It's just needs one person to catch one, and Port Lincoln will go tuna mad again. The first time they turned up here is unreal.
Yeah, how much does that affect a business like yours? Like one person catching a big barrel and it getting on social media? Do you just have a queue out the door the next day?
Yeah, we go from selling no barrel gear to the next day we would sell 3 or 4 combos.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it was unreal last time. The first one that got caught at the Cabbage Patch, because we were sort of catching them, around Althorpes. There were a few guys launching here and scooting across to Yorks there. But then when the first confirmed one got caught at the Cabbage Patch, it was, to be fair, I was one of the people, and I was out there the next day, and there was 12 boats out there, which for Port Lincoln is quite substantial. To go to an offshore spot and see 12 of the boats there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's massive. Guys, launch. I saw a 5.2 out there that launched at Fisheries off the beach just to get there.
Yeah. Wow.
So people go mad for it, and they're having caught a couple now. They hit hard and they don't ever give up until you have them in the boat.
Yeah, so tell us a bit about the story about yours. So you had the confirmed catch at the patch. You were out there the next day. Did you get one that day, or you were sort of had a few different trips?
This is probably the I did 2 trips and got 2 fish.
Oh,
Put the cue in the rack, give up there and 100% hit rate.
We're not going to ruin the 100% record. No, we were out there the next day and there was still tons and tons of school tuna. So it is a little bit frustrating in a way that, you put your spread out, you have teasers out, everything like that, and then you catch a 12 kilo school fish and you have to reset your whole spread. But then, one of them wasn't a school fish. It was a 112 kilo fish was the first one that we got. And we got some really, really cool photos in front of the shop with it that day. So, and then the second one, we got very, very lucky, hooked it on the way home, sort of in the middle of nowhere. Saw them busting up and pulled a couple of skirts around them and, got lucky.
Very good. Now, last thing on the tuna fishing, Codey, you're telling us about your own colour of Halco lure that you've had some good success on. Tell us about that and the story behind that one.
Yeah, so we for a couple of years, myself and a couple of our staff had been trying to put together working with Halco and coming up with our own colour. And every time we thought we'd come up with a colour, we'd do some research and go, another shop's done something similar, or there's something completely similar on the market, and we wanted to do something a little bit different. So one day we were just sort of sitting there, and we had a heap of skirts out because we were using them as our colour chart. And the first time the barrels turned up here, most of the fish were caught on pink and purple. And we went, we haven't really done a pink and purple colour scheme, and we came up with a few of them. Then worked with Halco, and they, for the first time, they used the Invisiglow paint on our lure, which is the UV reactive paint. We went, let's give it a crack, and we got some samples done, and it came back. It looked unreal, and it's one of the. We're in the thousands of how many we've sold now. We get them in the shop, and they go out. They've gone to Tasmania, Northern Territory, Cape York, top of WA. Yeah, we get guys ringing up from all over the country trying to get after them now.
And what is it? It's mostly purple, is it?
So purple on the outside with a pink line through the middle.
Yeah.
And then the pink line through the middle is completely UV reactive. So hold it under a UV light and it starts to glow.
Yeah, nice. Wow, that's really cool. Now, what about that was sort of something you revolutionised, I suppose. What's next? What's on the plan for the agenda for the shop?
So we have got a couple more lures hitting the market this year that we've been working on. And we do have a new lure exclusive for the Tuna Classic next year.
Well, can you give us any hot takes, or they're all secret squirrel business?
Well, the one for the Tuna Classic is I can call it a natural bait fish presentation. And over the next couple of years, we're going to try and create a new lure every year for the Tuna Classic, but name it something iconic to the Tuna Classic.
Awesome.
So I do know what this year's is being called. I can't tell you yet, but we have locked in a name for it. I'll tell you that it normally involves a lot of money. Would be the only thing I can tell you with the name. But that will be, it'll be in the bags for the skippers for the Tuna Classic next year. It won't be a sold lure.
That's exciting. And if there's one thing I know about a lot of money down there, whether it's the Calcutta, the boats, or everything in between, there's a lot of money flying around down in Port Lincoln. So we'll look forward to seeing the name. Mate, it's been bloody great to have you on, and it was good to catch up with you over at the Tuna Classic not that long ago.
Yes.
But thanks for coming and telling us all about your journey and everything you're doing down there at Spot On, mate. Keep up the great work, and we'll look forward to catching up with you again sometime soon.
No, thanks so much for having me, boys. It's been exciting.
Very good. Thanks, mate.
Good to have a chat with Codey there, Brody.
Certainly was, Diz. Every time we talk to someone from Port Lincoln, I think we are made jealous of the variety of species they can target.
Yeah. Do you sort of think like I'm going to find myself a little shop and set up a little physio over there, get in competition?
Yeah, not against it, mate. There'd be a fair bit to do on the weekend, wouldn't there?
Oh, absolutely. Or like at lunchtime. Like Codey said, just nip down to the jetty and flick a few lures.
And he talked about whiting off the jetty. He did mention kingfish. I remember that they often post kingfish off that jetty. It is one of those jetties. Probably that and King's Coat's another one where they get really good like table fish and
weirdly, like for kingfish. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, very good. Rhodey, let's get into our fishing report, mate.
Rhodey and Diz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
Righto, Rhodey, have you heard some whispers that the squid are returning?
I have, Dizzy. There was a couple of posts popping up on social media. I think it even made the ABC News, Diz, that someone had some photos from the Flurio, maybe around Rapid Bay, of some squid coming back, Diz. So that's great to hear.
Any danger in somebody giving us a photo of them catching one?
Yeah, that prize is still up and about. And
The
I'm
prize
just
is still happening, guys.
looking at it
Come
now.
on.
It was the ABC had an article on the 7th saying squid sightings spawn hope in SA.
Hopefully they're hopefully the pros are getting out and getting into a few, and I'm sure they'll be keeping that very close to their chest, but hopefully they're able to get out there and earn their way.
We should touch base with Nathan from Cape Calamari and see what he's been finding. Diz, that'd be a good one to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah, good call. All right, Rhodey, where are the tuna biting, mate?
Dizzy, they've popped up on Yorks after all these months of us mentioning this in the fishing report. I think the local charters, Reef Encounters, and is it Real Action Charters? Is that the other one at Marion Bay?
Yeah.
And they fished the Port Lincoln Tuna Comp, didn't they? I think
They did. Yeah.
So both of those charter boats off Port Lincoln have been not Port Lincoln. Sorry, I'm getting my stories mixed up. Off Marion Bay have been getting tuna the last week, 10 days.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be the first time for the year that anyone's really seemed to have reported them off bottom of York. So that's a good sign, Diz.
Yeah, it is. It's a great sign. Good for the charter operators down there, and good for anyone heading down that way with this lovely little string of weather we've been having. So get amongst them. The barrels are down at Port Mac. That's there's definitely been some confirmed catches down there. You heard that earlier from Codey. He's been hearing they're catching them down the southeast, and things are looking similar to they did the last few years. So I'd be getting ready. You never know when they might pop up at Althorpes or wherever, whether it's down the Eyre Peninsula way. That barrel fishing is just, going to hopefully light up.
And Tyson's headed down there, want to fish charters. So he probably knows what's going on. And I think Port MacDonald Fishing Charters is getting into them as well. They've actually caught fish, I think, Port MacDonald Fishing Charters in the last few days. So that is a good sign, Diz. Hopefully it's a really good year on the barrels.
Yeah, good call. Plenty of whiting still around. Happy days on that one.
Yeah, yep. Your dad been out again or?
No, they haven't. Hasn't been back over there, but certainly been hearing good reports, and Port Victoria seems to be going well. Some of those usual spots, of course, we're starting to get into the winter whiting. They'll come in real shallow. But that's what it's all about, isn't it? Winter whiting, they just go wild.
It's going to be interesting, Diz, because obviously what was it? Most of last year, the Moonta Port Hughes area was fishing really hot. That's been affected by the bloom, and maybe fishing is down there at the moment. So it'll be interesting, where is the hot spot this coming winter?
Yeah. Good call. All right, Rhodey, nice little juicy, quick fishing report there for you. The listeners know where to find us by now, mate. We're everywhere.
We should send a reminder, Diz. We love your voice messages, voicemails in particular. We love a bit of interaction on the podcast. Yeah. And as we said, if you do catch a squid and you can prove to us that you caught it in the Gulf of St. Vincent's, we've got a nice little Shimano squid pack for whoever can give us a confirmed photo or confirmed report.
Good stuff. Get amongst it. Guys, good fishing, and we'll speak to you next time.
Rhodey and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.